Hi everybody, Vaetchan family, everybody else who's listening in. Rabbanit Bracha here to wish you a Shabbat Shalom or Shabbat Nachamu Shalom. That's the name of the Shabbat. We've just finished the 3 weeks, finished it yesterday, Tisha B'Av, culminating in Tisha B'Av. And on the 3 Shabbatot of the 3 weeks, we read 3 special haftarot. These haftarot are called Tlata de Pur Anuta, which is Aramaic, and it means the 3 haftarot of Puranut, of punishment, of rebuke. And now we're moving into 7 weeks between now and Rosh Hashanah. We have 7 special haftarot, but these are called Shiva Dinechemta. The question is asked, why do we have 3 of Puranut and 7 of Nechama? There's a very easy answer, and that answer is beautiful and heartwarming, showing us that the balance from God. We have fewer weeks of rebuke, and we have more than twice the amount of consolation, which we may arguably actually need. And Rabbi Eliyahu Kitov says that there are 144 verses, if you count up all the verses of the Haftarot of the 7 weeks. I haven't done the counting. You could do that if you'd like. And that is one more than the number of verses of rebuke in the Torah. There are 143 if you put together the verses of rebuke in Bechukotai, Kitavo, Nitzavim, and in the Song of Ha'azino. It'll be interesting to see, but he's saying that's 143 there and 144 in the 7 weeks of consolation. Rabbi Yitzchak et Shalom has a really beautiful idea for why we have 7 weeks of the Haftarot of Nechama, of comfort. Basing it off the idea that Rav Soloveitchik gave us, that we flip the order of how we feel the grief and mourning. When we have new mourning, meaning somebody passed away, the most intense grief is immediate, and then is Shiva, then is the 30 days, and we step down to the year. Whereas for old mourning, when we mourn something ancient like the temples, which we never experienced, so it's harder for us to feel it. Therefore, the sages flipped the model and started with the 3 weeks, which is stepping up our grief in a certain way by having mourning practices. Then it moves into the 9 days, which has steeper mourning practices, and culminating in Tisha B'Av, when we have the most stringent or most deeply felt mourning practices, and we feel more ready for it. And we think of Tisha B'Av as comparable to Shiva, because we sit on low stools, we sit on the floor, and we abstain from many things that we abstain from during Shiva, although of course we add to it the fasting. Rav Et Shalom suggests something else. He suggests that Tisha B'Av, what we just had yesterday, is more akin to being an onen or onenet. And that is that period in between when we hear about the passing of somebody close to us and actually having the burial. And that is when the grief is so intense often that we feel shell-shocked or paralyzed, and we can't even move into comfort. We can't, because our met, the person who passed away, or the thing, in this case, the destruction, the terrible tragedies that befell the Jewish people. So because not buried yet, we can't feel consolation. And therefore, he suggests that the 7 weeks of Nechama, the 7 weeks when we have 7 haftarot of comfort, are actually more comparable to Shiva, that every week is for another day of Shiva. And as the Shiva progresses, there are different analogies, which we could look at perhaps once in more detail. But the idea being that we move from the beginning of Nechama, of comfort, which is so hard to hear on the first day after the burial, as we move through the week of Shiva, towards the end of Shiva. Anybody who has experienced that may have experienced that during their week of Shiva, that they have moved through a trajectory through the week of Shiva. Wishing everybody to feel the beginning of comfort of people around us, of releasing the restrictions that we had during the 3 weeks, during the 9 days on Tisha B'Av, beginning to feel the comfort of people around us, surrounding us, the comfort of family, community, friends, suggesting to everybody to reach out to someone before the Shabbat Nachamu and feel the connection and love of others to bring us into the Shabbat in the right mode, the way to experience the beginning of comfort. Wishing everybody Shabbat Shalom.